To be completely honest with you, I'm not the biggest fan of Harry Potter, but I'm a big fan of this melody. And this melody does something very, very interesting that we'll get into in just a moment. Let's play it together first. It sounds a little bit like this. Something like ready, go. Second line. So beautiful. I love this melody. If you've never heard this melody, definitely go look it up. All you got to do is just search Hedwig's theme and it'll come right up. The actual orchestration is really gorgeous and the chords are really pretty too. But let's talk about this melody. What does this melody do that's so interesting and so unique and so impressive? I would say this, go back to the beginning of the video, play through it with me again as many times as you need to come up with an idea of what you think it could be. All right, so you're back, and I'm gonna let you know the very interesting thing that this melody does. This melody plays all 12 notes in the melody. It's incredible. If you know a little bit about music theory, you know that we have 12 notes available to us. If we started on E, trying to get this in frame, our low E string, we could play 12 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, before we hit the E note. So before we repeat notes, there's 12 unique instances of notes. Let me write this out for you so that you can see it a little clearly. Starting from E, we have E, and then we go straight to F, and then there's F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, we go straight to C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, and we're back at E. I got so caught up, I almost didn't stop. So here's how we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 unique notes before we get to our next E note, right? So there's 12 notes available to us. But typically, when we're playing in a scale, which 99% of the time, maybe even 100% of the time, if you're playing rock and roll music and blues music, 99% of the time we're playing within a scale. There's some sort of scale going on. Doesn't necessarily mean that you need to stay within that scale. You can do some spicy stuff, which is what this melody is an example of. But the scale itself, we're in a scale, and most of the time, scales have 7 notes. There are other exceptions, but most scales have 7 notes. This song is in the key of E minor. E sounds like home base, sounds like the thing that we're resolving to, and the quality, the sound of the scale is a minor scale. So that's why we are in the key of E minor. Let me write out the notes of E minor for you. E minor. We have E, we have F sharp, we have G, we have A, we have B, we have C, and we have D. We don't have time to explain exactly how I know that, but just give it a listen and see if you think that this sounds like an E minor scale. So, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, and then we can complete it and play the next E note on top. Sounds like a minor scale to me. So here are the notes that are available to us in minor. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the notes of this melody, and we're going to see what happens. It's going to be pretty exciting. I think that a good thing for us to do, actually, would be to have also the chromatic notes written in here. So in between E and F sharp, there is F, right? There's nothing in between F sharp and G. We have a G sharp in between G and A. Then there's an A sharp hiding right there. And then there's a C sharp hiding right there. And then there's a D sharp right after the D. Now, between the blue notes, which is the minor scale, and the E notes, which are all the notes that are outside of the scale, the wrong notes, now we're looking at 12. If you counted the blue notes and the red notes, it's 12 notes. These are all the notes that are available to us. Now I'll use the color green, and we'll write out the names of these notes together. Bonus points if you can beat me to it, and if you're correct. If you beat me on all the notes, let me know in the comments. All right, so this first one is B. We've got E, G, F sharp, E, B, and unfortunately, I don't have time on this YouTube video to really explain exactly how I know what the names of all these notes are, but I'll make some different videos on how to figure out the notes of the fretboard. It's a very important skill to be able to have. But for now, maybe you can trust that I'm doing it correctly. But feel free to call me out if I make a mistake. I am not above mistake making, I'll tell you that much. D, C sharp, C. I'm blanking here. This is G sharp. Maybe you beat me on that one. It's entirely possible. Back to C, B, A sharp. Oh goodness. That one. I'm blanking on this one. Oh, it's just an octave. It's also A sharp. So funny. Should have been the easiest one. And then G. And then E. Alrighty. There we have all of the note names. Now, let's see if all 12 are here. All 12, if they're here and accounted for. So B, we've got B right here. E, of course we've got E because it's an E minor scale, right? G, we've got G right here. F sharp, we got F sharp right here. E, we've already done E, right? We've already done B. Ooh, A, that's a new one. So we got A right there. F sharp we've already done. E we've already done. These we've already done. Ooh, D sharp. This is a new one. So D sharp is our first red note. The first note that's not inside of the scale. And then we also have F natural. You say F natural when there's no sharp or no flat. You can say natural. That goes for any of the notes. So now we have this red F natural. How fun. We've already done B. We've already done these notes. Ooh, D natural. That's a new one. Right there. Now we've got D natural. C sharp. Another new one. Boom. C. Now we get to color C. Ooh, G sharp. Another new one. And finally, A sharp. That was the last one that we needed. Wow. All 12 notes. Now, it's not entirely uncommon for a really pretty melody to have a note or two that's borrowing from outside of the scale. But to have a melody that sounds this good, that uses all 12 notes, I'm not very familiar with too many examples of melodies that do this and are this pretty. So I'm very, very impressed with this melody. I like it a lot. Let's play it together again because it's so pretty. Maybe at a tempo like, and ready, go. Second line. Incredible. I'm so impressed. Here, I'll make this a little bigger. Maybe that's really small on your page or your monitor. If you found this interesting at all, I would really encourage you to start the video back from the beginning, take out a piece of paper, and follow along. Write out the tablature, write out the notes, like do everything that I just did, but figure it out for yourself. Maybe be like one step ahead of me and then check your work with what I did. That would be a really, really great exercise for you to work on. The one thing that I'd like you to take away from this video is that if you hear something that sounds pretty and you like it, it's worthwhile to figure out some of the music theory behind why you might like that. For me, I've always enjoyed this melody, but it was only recently that I sat down and really kind of looked at it. And now I found, oh my goodness, it plays all 12 notes. And that's not exactly the reason that I like it, but it has to do with why I like it. It's this melody, it handles playing notes outside of the scale so well in a very unique way because it does it so often. Of course, when you hear this melody, some of the notes sound a little strange, a little magical, a little mysterious. But to me, like, it doesn't sound like it's using every wrong note. Like, generally, when you're playing a scale and you play a note outside of the scale, it sounds like a wrong note. For example, if I kind of bathe us in the sound of E minor, I'm going to turn my amp back on. Like, sounds like a wrong note. Sounds like a wrong note. This note right here is A sharp. So, it's the note. Let's see if I can figure this out in a different position. Rock and roll. So, that note that I played, the A sharp that sounded so wrong, this melody does it twice. It takes that wrong note, and not only does it play it once, but it plays the octave totally below. And then it resolves it in such a beautiful way Like, because the melody is so strong and the melody sounds so pretty, it can get away with breaking the rules or just very simply borrowing some notes outside of the scale that are a little spicy. It's very similar to fusion cuisine. You know, the rules are if you're cooking in a certain cuisine, you might only use certain ingredients. But then with fusion cuisine, you borrow an ingredient from another cuisine, and as long as you understand the principles of how to make food taste good, then you can put any ingredient you want in it. Because the most important thing is that it tastes good, not necessarily that it's a perfect representation of the E minor scale or something else like that. So, yeah, I could talk about this stuff forever. I guess I do. That's why I teach the guitar program, and that's why I make these videos on YouTube and Instagram. So thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you for studying the guitar and studying music with me. It's a pleasure to be able to study this information with you. And yeah, go back to the beginning and kind of figure it all out. You could also do what I did where you take the melody and you play it in different positions on the fretboard. That is a really, really good exercise. And I'll see you in the next video.